little brother, Hakeem Jeffries.
Good morning. Good morning, Illinois. Is the Illinois Democratic Party in the house right now? Are the county chairs in the house right now? Are you ready for Democrats to win up and down the ballot next year? And are Democrats ready to make sure that we take our country back? What an honor and a privilege to be here with all of you. Thank you so much for the incredibly warm welcome. Thank you, Mark Gately. We really appreciate you and your incredible leadership. Mark, and what you have done in leading the County Chairs Association here in Illinois. We thank you. Thank you, Robin Kelly, for your friendship, for your partnership, and for your leadership, for those kind words of introduction. That was pretty impressive. She went from A to Z. Of course, to my other distinguished colleagues in the United States Congress who are here, Raja Krishnamurthy, Sean Casten, Delia Ramirez, Nikki Budzinski, incredible members of the House of Representatives who work hard on your behalf each and every day. Let me thank Governor Pritzker for his friendship, his partnership, his leadership. One of the great governors in the United States of America who shows what it means to be a strong, purposeful, get stuff done kind of leader. And of course, to your two senators, we're thankful for Tammy Duckworth. Thank you for your service to Illinois, in the Congress, and to the country. And to Senator Dick Durbin, a legendary icon. So appreciative of all that Dick Durbin has done for this state and for the United States of America and the world, decade after decade after decade. And Dick Durbin, you know, he's had an incredible number of titles throughout the years. Of course, now the senior senator of this great state, chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, the Democratic whip in the United States Congress, but the one that I'm most affectionate about is his title as a former member of the United States House of Representatives. Because we believe, y'all, all good things start in the House, as Dick Durbin has demonstrated. But we're appreciative to him for his strategic leadership, for his strength. And Dick Durbin has proved year after year that he's as smart as a whip. Some of y'all will get that on the way home. Thank you, Senator Durbin. Thank you, Tammy. And of course to Kwame Raoul, who's doing an amazing job. Juliana. Kwame's doing an amazing job. Juliana, Lieutenant Governor. All of the state and county, local, town, elected officials, activists, volunteers, members of organized labor, so appreciative of what all of you have represented, the work that you are doing each and every day, every week, every month, during these incredibly challenging times that we live in here in America. You know, when my two sons were a little younger, one was 9, Jeremiah, the other was 6, Joshua. Jeremiah played travel baseball, and for those of you who have been parents to children who play travel sports, you know, travel sports will take you all over the place, often beyond the beaten path. And one Memorial Day weekend, Jeremiah had a baseball tournament at a small little town in the Northeast, in the New England region. And I said to Jeremiah and his youngest son Joshua was 6 years old at the time, that I was going to take him on the trip with his older brother, a weekend trip to this travel baseball tournament, and that it would be like a vacation. What did I say that for, y'all? Because Joshua had visions of Atlantis. We go on this trip, we finally arrive, we pull up to the motel where we're staying at. And Joshua, 6 years old, looks at the motel, looks at me, looks at the motel, and then looks at me. And listen, y'all, that motel, it was a shaky situation. So finally he says to me, "Oh my God, Dad, this is a debacle." Joshua, 6 years old, so I look at him and I say, "Joshua, what does the word debacle mean?" He says, "I don't know, Dad. It's something bad." I think this is the moment that we're in right now, Illinois Democrats. Crashing the economy is something bad. Destroying Medicaid as you know it is something bad. Taking a chainsaw to Social Security, something bad. Raising costs on hard-working American taxpayers, something bad. Firing veterans who served this country is something bad. Canceling medical research for children with cancer is something bad. Destroying the retirement accounts of everyday Americans, that's something bad. Trying to whitewash the most painful parts of American history, something bad. Unleashing mass ICE agents on law-abiding immigrant families, which should never happen, is something bad. And undermining the rule of law is something bad. The first 6 months of the Trump administration have been a debacle. America is better than this. We're better than this. We're better than this. You deserve better than what we are confronting. And the situation is just as bad in the House of Representatives. These folks are nothing more than a reckless rubber stamp for Donald Trump's extreme agenda. The only thing that they've accomplished is to pass this one big ugly bill into law that rips away health care from millions of people. Hospitals will close. Nursing homes will shut down. Community-based health clinics will be unable to function. Premiums, co-pays, and prescription drug prices are going to increase for everyone else. Folks will die as a result of this one big ugly bill. They're stealing food from the mouths of children, veterans, and seniors, and all of this is being done so they can enact massive tax breaks for their billionaire donors who don't need it. This is what House Republicans have done, hurting everyday Americans. Donald Trump hurting everyday Americans. Senate Republicans hurting everyday Americans to reward their billionaire donors. Donald Trump is pretending as if he cares about public safety in Washington, D.C. I have a message for him and the American people. The biggest crime scene that hurts everyday Americans in Washington, D.C. right now is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That's the crime scene that we need to clean up on behalf of you and the American people. Situation just as bad in the House of Representatives. This is no longer the party of John McCain. It's not the party of Mitt Romney, not the party of Bob Dole. Many of us in the delegation, we served with Speaker John Boehner, Speaker Paul Ryan. They were deeply conservative men, disagreed with them on a whole host of issues. But it's not the party of those individuals. They also cared about the institution. They cared about the American way of life. They cared about our democracy, disagreed with them on a whole host of issues. But it's not the party of John McCain, John Boehner, or Paul Ryan. It's the party of Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Jim Jordan, and Mary Miller. I mean, who knew I would miss John Boehner and Paul Ryan so much? But this group of people, acting like nothing more than a reckless rubber stamp in the House and in the Senate for Donald Trump's extreme agenda. Our view as Democrats is very different. We don't work for Donald Trump. We don't work for J.D. Vance. We don't work for Elon Musk. We don't work for billionaire donors. We work for all of you, the American people. And that is what will continue to drive us as we move forward. Big difference between who we are as Democrats and what the other side, the extremists, the MAGA extremists, represent. We want to move America forward. They're trying to turn back the clock. We want to bring people together. They are tearing America apart. We believe in truth and reconciliation. They want to cancel our history. We fight for the people, they fight for the privileged few. We believe in unions and the right to collectively bargain. They want to destroy our freedom to negotiate. But here's a newsflash, straight out of Congress. Democrats will stand with organized labor today. Democrats will stand with organized labor tomorrow. Democrats will stand with organized labor forever. We are the party of organized labor. Your values are our values, and our values are your values. And no one has done more to bring to life the American dream than our partners in organized labor. We stand with you now and forever. That's who we are as Democrats, the party of everyday Americans, of hardworking American taxpayers. We believe that hard work should be rewarded, that everyone should be able to make a living wage, and certainly that the minimum wage, $7.25 an hour in America, is unacceptable and needs to be raised. And that will be one of the first things we do. We believe as Democrats in this country, the wealthiest country in the history of the world, that no child should ever go hungry in the United States of America. Not a single child in Illinois or anywhere else here in this country. And we, of course, believe in a woman's freedom to make her own reproductive health care decisions at all times. Thank you, Governor Pritzker, for protecting it here in the land of Lincoln. And of course, as Democrats, we recognize that America, most importantly, is too expensive. That far too many people are struggling to live paycheck to paycheck. Barely can survive. Impossible for so many people to thrive. Donald Trump promised that they would lower costs, in fact, on day one. But here in America, costs haven't gone down, costs have gone up. Inflation is on the way up. Job creation is coming down. They have failed to keep their core promise of making life more affordable for the American people while they enrich their billionaire donors. As Democrats, we understand that it's time to build an affordable economy. We have to lower the high cost of living in the United States of America, and we need to do it now. We also recognize that we have to fix our broken healthcare system, make sure that everyone has access to high-quality, affordable healthcare whenever and wherever you need it. And yes, as Democrats, we're going to focus on cleaning up corruption in Washington, D.C., and make sure we deliver a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Clean up corruption in Washington, D.C., which is hurting everyday Americans. As Democrats, we believe in rewarding hard work, that when you work hard and play by the rules, you should be able to live a comfortable life, live the good life. Can I break that down for you? Good paying job, good housing, good health care, a good education for your children, and a good retirement. Live the good life. Good housing, good paying job, good health care, good education for your children, and a good retirement, which means as Democrats, we're going to continue to stand up and make clear to our Republican colleagues, keep your hands off the Social Security and the Medicare of the American people. Those aren't entitlement programs. Those are earned benefits. You work hard for those benefits. You deserve those benefits. You've earned those benefits, and we're going to protect those benefits. Hands off. Hands off today, hands off tomorrow, hands off this week, hands off next week, hands off this month, hands off next month, hands off this year, hands off next year. Keep your hands off of Social Security and Medicare always and forever. That's the Democratic Party position. I approve that message. And so, these are challenging times. We're in a more is more environment. As Democrats, as all of you have been doing, we're going to have to continue to do more. More rallies, more demonstrations, more protests, more press conferences, more speeches on the House floor, more speeches on the Senate floor, more town hall meetings in Democratic districts, more town hall meetings in Republican districts, more hearings on the Hill, more hearings off the Hill, site visits in country, site visits out of country, and more extraordinary actions like those being taken by courageous Texas Democrats to block this gerrymandering scheme and this Republican effort to steal the midterm election. More is more. And that's our charge. That's our collective promise to each and every one of you. But let me say, as I prepare to close, that as someone who grew up in a working class neighborhood, union household, both my parents union members throughout their entire careers, I'm proud to be a Democrat. Proud to be a Democrat. We've made some mistakes. There's some things that we've got to improve on. That's the reality of life. Churchill once said that success is not final, failure is not fatal. All that matters at the end of the day is the courage to continue. I put it a different way. Robin knows this. A knockdown is different than a knockout. That's the Hakeem Jeffries remix, y'all. Success, not final. Failure is not fatal. All that matters is the courage to continue. Of course, there's some things that we can do differently. But I'm proud to be a Democrat, because we are the party that is actually committed to making life better for everyday Americans. We don't just talk about it, we are about it. We have a track record that demonstrates it. Social Security, rural electrification, the GI Bill, Medicare, Medicaid, Head Start, the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act, the Elementary and Secondary School Act, the Higher Education Act, the Children's Health Insurance Program, the Affordable Care Act, the American Rescue Plan, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, gun safety legislation for the first time in 30 years, the PACT Act to stand up for our veterans, the CHIPS and Science Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, and so much more. Every single one of those things brought to you by your friendly neighborhood Democratic Party. I'm proud to be a Democrat. We have a track record of accomplishment. We don't just talk about it, we are about it. And we should embrace that history as we travel along the journey and continue to do more on behalf of the American people. And we also believe that in this country, we are a nation of immigrants. We are a gorgeous mosaic of people who have come from all across the world. John Lewis, who we serve with, would say to us that we may have come over on different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. I like that. Think about it. We're white. This room represents, we're white, we're black, we're Latino, we're Asian, we're Native American, we're Christian, we're Jewish, we're Muslim, we're Hindu, we're religious, we're secular, we are gay, we are straight, we are young, we are older, we are women, we are men, we are citizens, we are dreamers. Out of many, we are one. That's what makes America a great country. And no matter what kind of xenophobic behavior is coming from the other side of the aisle, we're not going to let anyone take that away from us. Not now, not ever. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's the United States of America, and that's the country we're fighting hard to preserve. Fighting hard to preserve. So this last observation about democracy, the moment that we're in, the American way of life, what this struggle at the end of the day is all about. The story is sometimes told of that moment in 1787 at Convention Hall in Philadelphia. Framers of the Constitution completed their work. And Ben Franklin, one of the great thinkers of all time, he emerges from this convention hall and he's approached by a woman named Elizabeth Powell. Miss Powell was the first lady of the city of Philadelphia, close friend of George and Martha Washington's, prominent philanthropist at the time. She approaches Ben Franklin after they completed their work and says, "Dr. Franklin, what have you gentlemen just done? Have you created a monarchy or a republic?" And Dr. Franklin famously responds, "Mrs. Powell, we've created a republic if you can keep it." Think about that a lot during these challenging times. Dr. Ben Franklin expressing skepticism about our collective ability to maintain the republic. And he expresses that skepticism at a triumphant moment. America had just defeated the British Empire, the world's greatest superpower at the time. And yet Dr. Franklin, when he's asked this question by Elizabeth Powell, responds with a healthy degree of skepticism. Why was that the case? I think it's because everything that was done in that convention hall, checks and balances, separate and co-equal branches of government, the independent judiciary, the free and fair press, the preeminence of the rule of law, all of those values, all of those ideas, all of those institutions had never before been put together in one form of government in the history of the world. And so perhaps the framers were somewhat skeptical about America's ability to maintain it. But the majesty of our journey, the incredible part of American exceptionalism, is that year after year, decade after decade, century after century, we've kept this democracy thing going. But now, perhaps, for the first and only time since the Civil War, all of those values, all of those ideas, all of those institutions are under assault, not from without, but from within. Mrs. Powell, we've created a republic if you can keep it. That's the question that all of us now, as Democrats, as citizens, as community leaders and activists and elected officials, that all of us are called upon to answer at this moment. We've created a republic if you can keep it. But we also know from our history that we're a resilient country, that when times are tough, just enough of us have been able to, over and over and over again, stand up and show up and speak up for what is right. That's what all of us are now called upon to do, have been doing, certainly here in the great state of Illinois. Stand up and show up and speak up for what is right. And I'm very clear about things. They want us to step back, but we're here to fight back for an America that is the best version of herself. The Democratic Party is not the minority party. We are the opposition party fighting for a better America, even in the midst of all of the challenges. They want to cancel our history so we don't learn from our history. But we can learn a lot from the resilience that so many people have showed of every race. We saw this during the civil rights movement, which of course started when Rosa Parks sat down on that bus in Montgomery, Alabama. She sat down so that everybody else could stand up. And it started the civil rights movement during a very tough time. And in those early days of the civil rights movement, those first few months, they were under significant oppression. Dr. King, Rosa Parks, so many others, people of different races, of different religions who flocked down south. They were arrested, they were prosecuted, they were detained. Some thought it hopeless that change was possible. And during those early days of the civil rights movement, Dr. King famously, a few months after it started, came to a church, the Concord Baptist Church in Brooklyn, New York. And he knew that some people were discouraged, and so he said to them that they've got to keep pressing on. He said, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But press on and keep pressing. And at this moment in time, Illinois Democrats, that's our charge. We've got to press on. Press on for our children, press on for our seniors, press on for our veterans, press on for our farmers, press on for our unions, press on for our dreamers, press on for working class folks, press on for the middle class, press on for the poor, press on for the sick, press on for the afflicted, press on for the least, press on for the lost, press on for the left behind, press on for economic justice, press on for social justice, press on for racial justice, press on for civil rights, press on for voting rights, press on for reproductive freedom, press on until we take back control of the House of Representatives, press on for our democracy. We will press on as Democrats until victory is won. God bless you. God bless the Illinois Democratic Party and the County Chairs Association, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Press on until victory.